Okay, so imagine, right? You walk into your office building, maybe grab some coffee and head up to the big corner office. And the CEO is there, ready to make the decisions that affect like everyone in the company. But there's a twist. The CEO isn't a person, it's an AI. No emotions, no intuition, just algorithms crunching data and making choices. Kind of wild to think about, huh? And that's exactly what we're going to be looking at today in our deep dive into the world's first AI CEO.
Yeah, this is something that is really pushing the boundaries of like what we thought AI was capable of. I mean, we've seen it play games, we've seen it make art, even compose music. But when you start talking about running an entire Fortune 500 company, well, that's a whole different ballgame.
No kidding. One of the things that really blew my mind when I was reading about all this is how they actually trained this AI CEO. They literally fed it like decades worth of data. Everything from, financial reports to market trends to, I mean, you name it. It was basically like giving it all the secrets of successful leadership and then just unleashing it.
Exactly. Like they essentially took all this data, right? And fed it into these really powerful machine learning models. So it's basically analyzing, I don't even know, thousands, probably millions of past CEO decisions, figuring out what worked, what didn't, and then using all that information to like predict outcomes. I mean, it's like having a crystal ball that actually kind of works, except instead of magic, it's algorithms.
Right. And it wasn't just, sitting there making predictions. This thing was actually putting these decisions into action. I read about this one case, right, where it decided to shut down like this whole division of the company. The AI predicted that it would lose money in the long run, even though I think it was still making a profit right then. But the AI was just like, nope, cut it off.
That's the thing that's both so fascinating and, to be honest, a little bit scary about it, right? I mean, think about it. A human CEO, they might hesitate. They might try to, salvage the division or, worry about the people losing their jobs. But this thing, it's just looking at the numbers. It's all about efficiency. No emotions.
It makes you wonder if you were working for a boss like that, right? A boss who could just make these huge decisions without, even blinking. Could you trust that? Would you be comfortable working there?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really valid point. I mean, like you said, it's not just about the data. Being a good leader, it's about inspiring people. It's about creating trust, understanding, the human element, the human side of things. And those are not things that we've really figured out how to teach machines yet. Even with all the advancements we've made.
Right. I mean, it seems like what we're seeing here is that AI, it can definitely optimize for things like, efficiency and cold hard logic. But that human touch, that empathy and understanding, well, it seems like that might be the price we pay.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to give the impression that, AI leadership is all doom and gloom. There are some pretty, exciting possibilities too, right? Imagine a CEO who can work 24/7, never gets tired, never gets distracted, and is constantly analyzing data, looking for opportunities or threats that humans might miss entirely.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. It's like having, this like super powered analyst at the helm, right?
Yeah, and it's like it brings up a lot of these questions that we're going to have to, grapple with like as AI gets more and more sophisticated. Like, yeah, the AI might make the quote unquote right decision, but if the people who work there, if they don't understand it, if they don't trust the process, I mean, are they going to follow?
That's really it, huh? It's about like finding that balance, right? I mean, maybe it's not about like robots replacing humans completely, but about figuring out how to like use the strengths of both. Let the AI do the heavy lifting on the data here, but keep that human element, that intuition at the forefront.
Absolutely. And I think, this whole experiment with the AI CEO, it's really just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like we're just starting to explore the possibilities of what AI can do, not just in business, but in every aspect of our lives, really.
It's exciting, right? And a little bit scary too. I mean, if we're already letting AI run companies, I mean, what's next? Will we see I don't know, managing cities or running, I don't know, government agencies? Like, where does it stop?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, the potential is it's huge, but it also raises a lot of ethical questions that we're going to need to think about very carefully. And that's something that we should all be part of, this conversation about the role of AI in our future.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's a perfect place to leave it for today. This is just the beginning of a much bigger conversation. So if you're listening out there, I mean, let us know what you think. Is AI leadership the future? Is it something to be embraced or feared? Or is it, somewhere in between? Whatever your thoughts are, we want to hear from you.
And if an AI ever does become your boss, well, let's hope it learned a thing or two from listening to this deep dive. Maybe it can pick up some tips on the whole, human side of things.
Yeah, fingers crossed on that one. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is a great conversation.